Hello, our favorite humans. Welcome to Bronx Tales with your host over here, Bronxy B, and me, I'm Logan. Thank you for being here. So today I want to discuss a few different points on a few different subjects regarding the Brian Kohlberger case, of course. But I wanted to mention that we are going to discuss a few points from last night's live. And the reason I want to do that is because I feel that they are very important to this case. And I understand that so many people cannot tune into a live or don't have the time to sit and watch maybe an hour or so long live. So I want to put it in a video just to make sure it does get out there. A big point we talked about from last night's live is the time change and the fact that the cameras are absolutely not the correct time as shown in the footage. They have 1000% been altered, and that is a huge deal. I'm going to prove really quick, as True Crime X gave us the information. We looked it up and dug into it for a little bit, and the quickest way for me to prove this to you without making you sit here for a million years is to show you right here on the camera. It states it is 6:35 in the morning, and this is the exact time that the camera from 1320 Linda Lane switches over to daylight color mode. Now that only happens when it is completely daylight out, meaning the sun started to rise quite a while ago, and now it's completely daylight. What makes this altered and untrue is the fact that sunrise on 11/13/2022 was 6:55 in the morning. It is not possible for it to be completely daylight and color mode, daylight mode, being switched over onto a camera at 6:35 in the morning. Now, Sherlock Romes did a super deep dive into the math on this. His channel will be added below in the description section if you want to check out his deep dive on all of the math. He spent a lot of time digging into the math of this, and he has found out that this camera is absolutely 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds off. Now, that creates a lot of problem with the timeline. You know, all the people we see walking, the noises made, the cars driving by are not at the time that it reflects on the camera itself. This changes everything. Who is editing these videos? Why are they misleading? I feel like this alone, if this was proven in court, would 1000% make a jury have reasonable doubt. They would sit there and think, why is this being edited? What is being covered up here to where they need to change the times on the cameras? What's absolutely disgusting to me is that it's not just the cameras and the times and the cover up on that. It's the lies throughout this entire investigation. Now, I won't get into every single lie, but I can tell you people are lying about small things and big things, as we already know. Lana has proven just yesterday Gary Jenkins is lying. We know that Detective Payne is lying. He's lying about many different things. He's lying about where the name Brian Kohlberger came from and when it popped up and who gave it to him. He's lying about the glove being found. He knew there was DNA in the glove. He had to break the chain of digging into this glove and the DNA on it because he knew probably it would not come back to Brian Kohlberger. These lies may be small in the moment or seem small, but they add up to a very large portion of this case. In the live last night, we were asked by a wonderful subscriber named Sally to go over document 90 again. Now, document 90 was Bethany's second interview. Now, this happened on 11/16, so 2.5 days after the crime had occurred. She had already booked it to Reno. She was already back in Reno, and her parents had already gotten her a lawyer by the name of Thomas Valoria, and apparently he's the best of the best in that area. Now, it's obviously smart in any position of a case to retain a lawyer if you can. The thing is this is a criminal defense lawyer, and I found it interesting that she would feel the need to immediately retain a criminal defense attorney. The problem is, well, there's many different problems in her statement, but the one I want to point out today is the fact that Bethany stated The night of the crime, now I'm not sure if she's referring to the 11th or the 12th, but either way, it doesn't matter because she stated she physically watched Xana and Ethan ingest drugs into their system. So we also know, with that being said, that either Mabbitt is lying or the ME who did the autopsies and the toxicology report is lying, because we were recently told there were no drugs in their system. And as I stated before, it made me angry because we're being lied to. And now we know we are definitely being lied to, even all the way down to the dang toxicology report. Bethany stated she saw them using and that they used pretty regularly. So at the very least, other than alcohol, Xana and Ethan would have amphetamines in their system. And yes, timing-wise, it would still show. If you didn't happen to catch Lana's live from last night or earlier today, I believe, she was pointing out how Gary Jenkins is also a liar, and the reports that they made in Pullman about the white Elantra are lies as well. Now, Gary Jenkins has emails back and forth with his staff asking who the other people he interviewed are. So the fact he went on several different news stations saying that he remembers Brian Koberger and the interview, no, he didn't. You can clearly see that with the back and forth in his emails to his own staff. Not only that, the bolo on the white Elantra was not put out until the 19th. So why does Pullman have reports about looking for a white Elantra on the 15th? There's too many lies going on in this case. And while so many people are digging, not only are the true facts going to come out about this case, but hopefully in an appeal, they will also be brought up. These are very deep and very important lies, and they're documented. And all somebody would need to prove is reasonable doubt. And these lies absolutely prove reasonable doubt. But it proves that every single person in this case, nearly every single person in this case, is lying, and lying in their reports as well. So they're documented lies. Now, if you had an honest investigation and this person that you arrested for this crime really did this, you would have no reason to cover up lies. You would have no reason to cover up camera footage. You would have no reason to create all these lies and try and backtrack on reports to cover them up. Now, the most important part about the camera footage being off, in the Banfield stop, where you see the people run from 1122 King Road in the background of the Banfield stop, the time difference actually equals that those people were running from 1122 at exactly 4:19 in the morning. And what's significant about that is the state themselves say the time this crime ended was 4:19 in the morning. Now, with a red fluid glove being found in the front and those bodies running from 1122 King Road in the front, it could definitely be the suspects, the perpetrators. As we know, there's absolutely more than one. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about today is in the interview that Ashley Banfield accidentally did with Steve Goncalves, the newest fake interview we have with Steve Goncalves and Ashley Banfield.
Lindsay, Steve Goncalves is calling me right now. I'm going to grab it. Hi, Steve.
Hey, what's up, Ashley?
I'm good. I'm actually just recording a podcast right now. How are you doing?
Totally staged and not an accidental, oh, I was recording and I accidentally answered a call and accidentally had a conversation with Steve Goncalves while recording. Oops. No, this was completely planned out. Do not let them fool you. It's also completely edited as well. In interesting points that Steve Goncalves is about to make, you can tell it's cut off. But beside that, I want to highlight where Steve Goncalves starts talking about the weapon used on Kaylee, where, trigger warning, her teeth are knocked out and she has a mark on her face or on both sides of her face that have a rounded edge with stripes in there.
I did want to ask you a quick question, though, because I'm still mystified. Yesterday in the press conference, the police said there's only one murder weapon, and it's the K-bar knife, but then there are blunt force injuries. And I know that you mentioned there's a second weapon. What did they say to you? Because in the press conference, they said, ask the families. What did they say to you about a second weapon?
I don't think that weapon murdered her. And that's the kind of games that these people are playing. It's protect the university, protect this stuff. He punched her face. He knocked her teeth out. That didn't kill her. So they're playing those kind of games with you guys.
Did he knock her teeth out?
Yeah, her teeth were busted out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so maybe that didn't murder her. So technically, it wasn't a murder weapon.
Right.
But come on. I mean, why are you protecting a monster?
And
Why is Idaho protecting the monster?
The blunt injuries that they described in the autopsy, that we think that is him with his hands, literally.
No. I think there's another weapon.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's rounded with stripes in it, is how it was described to us.
Now, this is the mark that a weapon made while hitting her in the face. And I would like to submit what I believe the weapon is. Now, keep in mind, Bethany heard a loud boom or a firecracker and saw a flash of light through the bottom of her door on the first floor, meaning somebody was also down on the first floor, as we know, because there's red fluid and spatter on the wall going down to the first floor, as well as on the handrail, which is similar spots that looked very similar to the red fluid found in Showalter's apartment and outside his apartment. But I digress on that one. I believe that not only what Bethany heard and saw could be this weapon, but also what was possibly used on Kaylee's face is the butt of a pew-pew. And this is what the butt of a pew-pew can look like. There are several different designs you can get on the end cover of a pew-pew, and they can be rubber, they can be plastic, but they absolutely have a rounded edge and stripes in there. And I would like to submit that I believe this is what was used on Kaylee. There is way too much being covered up. That is why half of these officers and employees that were involved in this case now have different careers and work in different areas. I mean, I think that Payne was contacted by the university. You know, that was Fry's right-hand man. Fry even invented a position to put Payne in that position as his right-hand man. So whatever Fry knows, Payne knows. So Payne is doing the cover-up work in this case. And I think he was contacted by the U of I, and I think they said, make sure this is not an Idaho on Idaho, and make sure this has nothing to do with the university. And in my opinion, Payne says, I'm going to lose my job if I do that. Nope, Fry knows all about it. What happens? You know, what happens if I get caught? What happens if we can't cover this up correctly? Don't even worry about that. I pull all the strings. I'll give you a 6-figure salary if you come to the university. Say no more, Payne says. That's just the conversation I hear in my head regarding Payne and the university, which is why he covered up everything and he is 1,000% protected. These lies are very deep and the players go very high. And that's what we have for you for right now. Do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your dog. Bye, guys.